Okay. All right, guys. I get your anger and disappointment. I know my last upload was 2 months ago, but because of school, it's tough to upload. So I'm trying here.
Are you sure?
So don't get all pushy on me, cause
it's not easy being a YouTuber. So
yeah. Superman, directed by James Gunn. Yep, the man himself of all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the reboot of Suicide Squad. But Superman, yeah, James Gunn really nailed this one. Like, out of all the things I've seen him do, this is the best one he's done. It is very story compelling. The characters are great, especially when it comes to David Corenswet as Superman and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. The portrayal of both of them face to face was really nice to see. But I do gotta say, starting off with Superman himself, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, David Corenswet really did a great job on knowing how to portray this character. Superman just came out really good, and I think the way that his story was made, aside from other previous stories of how Superman's iteration in movies was made, like with the iteration of Superman from the 80s, I think that his iteration of Superman was nice. And then later, the iteration of the Superman from 2005, who later in the CW played the Atom in Grant Gustin's Flash universe. And then we got Henry Cavill Superman, then DCU. I can't lie, he's like the second best Superman. I know most people are gonna about to get pushy because I didn't say, oh, Henry Cavill's the best Superman. Nah. I will say right now, he's not the best Superman. And I'll say that only because Superman is supposed to be full of hope and light and hopefulness. But Henry Cavill didn't do that for me, because he started off as hopeful and bright, but like later on as the movie went on, he did nothing but aura formed. Like when there are people in danger, he just let a truck or a building fall onto them and just aura formed. But the difference with this Superman is that he understood that being a hero means saving other people's lives, even if that puts his life in danger. Because keep in mind, Superman, aka Clark Kent, is an extraterrestrial alien from Krypton, which I don't know why he's from Krypton if that's his weakness. That's his weakness, is kryptonite. It doesn't make any sense, but I guess the Fortress of Solitude is also part of his home, which is really nicely portrayed in this movie as well. And I think just David Corenswet as being Superman, he really portrayed the good side of Superman and what that character actually means, especially the side of Clark Kent, like later in the film after we see the first few minutes of him as Superman, like him later in the Daily Planet as Clark Kent. It's funny how he pretends to hide his identity as if, oh, people don't know I'm Superman, even though Lois Lane pretty much knows. But yeah, I think it's great that Superman was portrayed in this movie. So moving on to Lois Lane, basically, they're technically just friends in this movie, but I can clearly tell that they are like a couple in this film, because It's been done in so many other iterations of Superman, like from the 80s Superman to Henry Cavill Superman, which I do have to say this Lois Lane, who was played by Rachel Brosnahan, I think was portrayed way better than Amy Adams, which, don't get me wrong, Amy Adams' Lois Lane was portrayed nicely, but it didn't work for me. The way that Lois Lane's supposed to be is a reporter for the Daily Planet and not just some random company, because I feel like that's what they were trying to do with Amy Adams' Lois Lane. It didn't work for me for some reason. Maybe I have to go back and watch The Man of Steel again and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, but yeah, no, she just didn't work for me as Lois Lane. So I do gotta say, my man Nicholas Hoult really, absolutely, aside from David Corenswet, nailed his role as Lex Luthor, because out of all the iterations of Lex Luthor, yeah, no, this one's the best one. But if you want to count the one from Smallville, because I thought that one was nailed well too, which I'll probably get into that later if I feel that needs to be talked about. Yeah, no, Nicholas Hoult really did a nice job. I love the passion he had for hating Superman, and the passion he had where he was like, if you find that reporter, kill her. Because every person that loves Superman, aka Clark Kent, needs to be dead. Like, that's the kind of passion I need to see from a iteration of Lex Luthor or portrayal. And I feel like the only one who actually really understood Lex Luthor was Nicholas Hoult. I don't care what people say. Nicholas Hoult is the best Lex Luthor I have seen on screen. And if you want to count TV show wise, yes, I think the actor who played Lex Luthor in Smallville did a good job for that show. But in movie wise, yeah, I do believe it is Nicholas Hoult who really did a good job as Lex Luthor. Now for the Justice Gang, all of them are great. But mainly, I have to talk about Mr. Terrific because, wow, from when I first saw him in the trailers, I felt like, okay, this guy might be cool. It might be fun to see, like, how he's portrayed in this movie, because I don't recognize the Justice Gang from anywhere else. And as far as Guy Garner goes, I know he's part of the Green Lantern group of Green Lanterns, I guess. And I don't know if he'll be part of the new Green Lantern series that will probably come out next year, if I'm correct. But yeah, like, Mr. Terrific is the best one out of the whole group. I mean, Guy Garner gets some fun moments here and there, but like, Mr. Terrific was really played nicely in this film. And it was just nice to see his comedic timing, his action moments, his passion for what to do. And even in the fact that he didn't really like Superman that much in this movie, he still had the passion enough to help go save him from the pocket dimension, because later in the film, that is where Superman ends up because of Lex Luthor. And then, of course, obviously, Metamorpho, that's also who ends up in the pocket dimension along with his son Joey, which, why would you put a child in the pocket dimension? But I do think, in all honesty, yeah, the Justice Gang was really nice to see in this film. And I know in Peacemaker Season 2 that the Justice Gang make an appearance, and I think that's great, because I know James Gunn also has directed Peacemaker, and it's nice to see what James Gunn brought to the table for the reboot of Superman. And I'm excited to see what they'll do with Supergirl next year, because I'll get into that part later in this video, because there will be major spoilers later. But moving on, there's not much to say about Jimmy Olsen, but he was also a nice character, because I know there were other iterations of Jimmy Olsen and some other Superman stuff. So Jimmy Olsen's not like that much of a popular character to me within this film. But I do think it was nice to see his comedic moments and the moments he had to shine in this film. So that was nice to see. Okay, so now that I've got all mostly the important stuff out of the way, now I gotta get on to the post-credit scene of this movie, because it was great, but not that great. And that's why I'm not gonna give this movie a full 10, because believe me, I would. But the post-credit scenes for this movie just didn't make sense, and the ending of this movie should have been the post-credit scene, but I would understand why maybe they didn't make it a post-credit scene, but they definitely should have, because the 2 post-credit scenes they had in this movie didn't make any sense. Okay, so moving on to the end of this movie, then we clearly see that like the city was straight up destroyed because of Lex Luthor. He kind of split the whole city into halves. I do believe that it was nice to see how they ended this movie. And I also do have to add, before I get to why I think the ending of this movie should have been the post-credit scene, I do have to say the small little joke that Guy Garner and Lois Lane had in this movie about just straight up roasting Guy Gardner's haircut, because yeah, I can't lie, I do have to agree with Lois Lane that Guy Gardner's haircut was a disgrace to society. I don't know anybody who would have that haircut, because it really was a disgrace to society, or whatever it was that Lois Lane said. But either way, it was hilarious. Okay, so moving on back to the topic of the end of this movie, we get to see that Superman is brought back to the Fortress of Solitude, and then his robot 4, or as they call him by the end of this movie, Gary, he plays the special message of Superman's parents. And me personally, I thought when Gary said, "Would you like to hear the special message of your parents?" I thought he meant his parents from Krypton. But then I remember, like in the Superman origin story, Superman's parents are destroyed, or at least his biological ones. So instead we get the heartfelt moment of getting to see Superman's adopted parents, Martha and Pa Kent, which was really something special, because for people who just have memories of family members and stuff, it really touches most people who know what it's like to have a family and stuff. And for me, it was definitely touching, because it's nice to see just memories get to flow on screen, and it was nice to see how they did that within this movie. So after the nice little montage of getting to see the heartfelt moment of Superman reacting to his messages from his adopted parents, Martha and Pa Kent, then we get to see Millie Alcock's Supergirl crash land into the Fortress of Solitude. She's all mad and stuff, and apparently the new Supergirl movie will be based on a Supergirl comic called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And apparently in that comic she is drunk because she went to go party on different planets to help with her grieving of the planet of Krypton, since obviously that planet disappeared after they came to Earth. She's mad at Superman looking for Crypto, which really quick, I do think Crypto was also a nice addition to this movie as well, because we don't ever get to see much iterations of Crypto, and the moments that Crypto had to shine in this film were just really nice. Because like the only other film I can think of that actually had Crypto was DC League of Super Pets, and that was an animated movie. But getting to see Crypto in live action form was really great, because I think the animation on Crypto for this movie was actually really cool to see, and it was just funny to see, especially the moments with him between Superman and him, and I'll get into that with this next post-credit scene. So after Supergirl comes back mad to the Fortress of Solitude, she takes Krypto home, and then, we have the credits all out, and then we cut to a small post-credit scene of Superman and Krypto sitting on the moon, which I think is wholesome, but, the question is, was it really necessary? Because I don't feel it was. It's great that they had that, but it really was not necessary. I feel like it could have been something better. Like, for example, they could have used the Supergirl cameo at the end of Superman as the post-credit scene. Okay, so then the second post-credit scene of this movie is Superman and Mr. Terrific argue about a crack in the wall that was left in the city from when they were fighting Lex at the end of the final battle of this movie, Superman. So, all I gotta say was, this movie for me was like a 9 out of 10. Because I feel like some things could have been done more with this movie, and I feel like if the post-credit scene with Krypto and Superman sitting on the moon and Superman and Mr. Terrific arguing wasn't a post-credit scene, this movie would have been a better thing for me. But overall, this movie was really good. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, so you don't miss any new content. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell, because you'll want to be updated for the next few videos I do. And just so you guys know, I did make a post about it on my YouTube channel, but tomorrow my Fantastic Four review will go up, and then my Minecraft movie review on Saturday, and then Lilo and Stitch Sunday. So be ready for that. And until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side.